Garry Paskwietz and Darrell here on Brian Kennedy Howard Jones Field as the Trojans get ready to face Oregon State on Saturday. Darrell, want to talk about a topic that is kind of appropriate for this Trojan team right now as they are growing, as they are maturing under Clay Helton. The thought of learning to play as the hunted is a different element than maybe some teams always know or some players always know. You played at Long Beach Poly, certainly a school that knows that. USC, a school that knows that. Tell us what advice you might give to a player about what's important in that regard.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because, in my opinion, Gary, the real season starts now. Now that there's a loss in in that column, and how will this team respond? Because it's very easy when you're the front runner and you're coming off of building momentum, continuous games or wins. But when you have to deal with this type of adversity and you're looking injuries in the face, and now you have to manufacture true emotion and ask yourself, am I doing enough during the week to prepare to win? That is the message that has to be answered before Saturday on this field. And thank goodness that they're going up against an opponent that they should have their way with, but that's also a scary element because for 5 weeks now they've gone up against opponents, Gary, that really kind of match wits, and you have to emotionally get charged up. But in a game like this is an opportunity for this USC team to determine who do they want to be, play consistent and physical.
Because it isn't really something they had to deal with last year, even through the winning streak in the Rose Bowl.
Right.
That momentum built through the year, all the hype in the offseason, and like you say, you come in and every opponent we've seen so far has had that USC game circled. It's always circled, but there's something more with where the program is right now.
When I go back to my time at Long Beach Poly in the late 90s when we were the hunted, the emotions, and every time I lined up, I knew that I was going to get that receiver's best. Even if he was the third receiver, I had to be on my A game. And that's asking a lot for a lot of freshmen who are replacing experienced players, but also due to the amount of injuries, asking a guy to stay focused and concentrate because you know you're going to get Oregon State's best the same way that you got Washington State's best. And that's a tall order to ask. But if there's any team that's prepared to handle this type of an emotional, surge of energy, it's this group right here.
And let's talk about, because it's not only the players, it's also the coaches. This coaching staff has not been in this position before. It's not something that a lot of coaches do experience. How do you think Clay Helton and his staff handle that moving forward?
It's interesting because we're watching this coaching staff, the maturation of this coaching staff throughout. And now we're going into another phase where they're going to have to really dig in and play percentages versus, playing for victories on the field, because not every series is designed to be one to score touchdowns. Sometimes you're playing for later field positions. So I will be curious to see how this team responds and how this coaching staff leads by example based on the effort that they get out of the players throughout the week.
We'll find out a lot more on Saturday at 1 o'clock. The USC Trojans versus the Oregon State Beavers. For Darrell, this is Garry Paskwietz. You're watching WeAreSC.